Welcome to the 24th anniversary spook-tacular of the Frozen Dead with the creator, Johnny Logan Harley. Say hi.
Hello.
Let's cut down to the brass tacks. You've already talking about how Johnny Necro came about, but there are additional items that you want to add or would like to add about Johnny Necro and his look and his character. Johnny Necro. How did Johnny Necro come about? How did the Frozen Dead come about?
Frozen Dead came about because of punk rock music.
Even though you already talked about this before.
That's okay. You don't got to keep telling people. They know we talked about it. They didn't hear it. And even if they did, it was on a different interview. God damn it.
It's okay. I'm going to beat a horse.
That's okay.
It might be alive. It might be dead, but I'm going to beat a horse. Anyways.
So I was living in Austin, Texas. I was temporarily indisposed with my living arrangements. I was kind of half homeless, half couch surfing, half living in a recliner, which I've shown in a comic in Frozen Dead before. And I had met some people. We were going to form a band because, you know, when you're poor and you're punk and you got no money, but you got an instrument or two, you know, you make a band. So you can try to make money and try to get a girlfriend. So you can try to have a place to stay.
Right. It all drives together. You have nothing.
You got to have free beer. You need to play shows. You want to have fucking, yeah. So anyways, I had already been doing art. I was working on a comic called Necrophiliac that I had created in the early 90s, right after high school. And I would draw it at a coffee shop. I met a friend, Rich, who eventually went on. We formed the band Asylum, which some of you know about. Even though it ended badly, it was a very important part of my life. But before Asylum, it was going to be called Frozen Dead. Frozen Dead was going to be a band. I created Johnny Necro as a kind of Misfits fiend type, Eddie Iron Maiden recognizable symbol. Rich named it at first, so I can't even say I named Frozen Dead. I stole the name Frozen Dead from the band Frozen Dead, which stole the name Frozen Dead from a movie Frozen Dead. So we needed a drummer. I drew a wanted ad. I drew myself kind of like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac in this crazy looking zombie mode. Rich was big, Frankenstein. He even had stitches tattooed on himself. You know, so he was going by the name Golem. I created the stage name Johnny Necro. See where this is going. It's all tied together. We had no drummer. We had a guitarist, Gabriel. So we just drew him as an archangel holding a severed woman's head. I've posted it before. The drummer, I made a skeleton. No features except for a pompadour. One eye missing. Now, fast forward a few weeks later, I'm drawing again at the coffee shop. This big, excuse the pun, buff guy comes over and he starts bothering me like, what are you drawing? Drawing a comic book named Necrophiliac. Nice. He goes, I work for the Daily Texan. Now, the Daily Texan is the largest college newspaper in the country. It's for the University of Texas, across the street from the coffee shop that I was drinking at. Wasn't a student, never was. He kept bothering me. He goes, well, you want to do a comic strip? I said, I don't draw comic strips. I draw comic books. And I kept blowing him off for actually like months. Finally, he's like, well, dude, he goes, how many comic books you got? I said, none. He goes, well, I get published every day. He goes, why don't you come up with a comic strip and we'll talk to the editor? So, marketing genius that I thought I was, I decided to create a comic called Frozen Dead, based off of the band, using the logo character as the main character. And I even wrote, written, and drawn by Johnny Necro, so it was autobiographical of the character. I was like, they're not going to want this. I go, I'm punk rock. I'm going to swear if I want. If I want to use Wolverine from the X-Men, I will. If I want to fucking draw the Marshmallow Man in it, I will. I'm going to do whatever I want. They're not going to fucking ever want to publish this. You know, self-destructive behavior. I turned it in. I got hired on the spot. The editor couldn't pay me because I wasn't a student, but they averaged $5 a strip per week. He paid me out of pocket. Not bad. I was a freelance artist for the largest college newspaper in the country for a comic I didn't even want to fucking draw. I was published next to Doonesbury and Dilbert. And I was like, well, I'll do whatever I want. So I drove this big picture of Johnny of Darkness, which was supposed to be Army of Darkness. Because, we're very big Evil Dead fans, you and me.
Sure.
Me being from Detroit, maybe even more so, just because of that history of that's where everybody came from.
Yep.
But I turned that in thinking they were going to reduce it. No, they gave me like a quarter of the page. I was like, holy fuck. And I got published in the Daily Texan all the way up until I moved to New York City to, again, become homeless and live on a subway and draw Frozen Dead. But that's another story altogether, which I can tell you that, too, because there was almost an MTV cartoon. I don't think I've ever told you that. I don't talk about that.
You have not told me.
So you know what? No. Fuck it. Let's gateway. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
I finally got off the streets. I was living in Brooklyn. Out of the blue, I call MTV. I say, I'm the guy who draws Johnny Necro, Frozen Dead comics. I left a message. They called me back within a fucking half an hour after their lunch break. I was like, holy fuck. They're like, yeah, pitch us the idea. Come up with a storyboard. Give us a fucking shout. I never did, which is kind of good after I found out how they screwed over the guy who created Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
And Mike Judge.
Wow.
So there's a new story for everybody. That was worth the hour interview that we just had.
That was worth the hour that we did, take.
Did that one blow your mind? Because it still blows my mind.
I mean, so was this around the time of Alan Flux or
a little bit afterwards? This was this was right before 9/11. I lived there in the year 2000, 2001-ish.
Gotcha.
And then I moved back to Detroit temporarily and then to Cleveland. So, yeah, it's a very small window of New York where Frozen Dead went in a hiatus, was unpublished. I'd left them more material. They kept publishing it after I moved.
Right.
And it wasn't in print again until Cleveland, in the Cleveland Mosaic of the Cleveland Community College. I was the only comic strip ever printed in that newspaper because I approached the newspaper. I only went 2 semesters, but I was printed. I got a press badge and everything. So
nice.
So let's move on from there. So,
but yeah, the only reason
I went even deeper this time.
The only reason I asked about Aeon Flux is because we were talking about it earlier today.
Man, Liquid Television was instrumental in. That's how I learned who Bill Plimpton was. I was like, oh my god, this guy's amazing. You know who he is? He's a Canadian artist and cartoonist. Very surreal.
I've heard the name, but yeah, again, like I said earlier, I guess I'm gonna have to state it again.
I recently saw he got the Simpsons introduction once, and I was like, oh my god.
I think I remember that. But yeah, I mean, as far as comics, like I stated earlier, I wasn't really into comics when I was younger. It just wasn't something that I got into. It wasn't until I was in my late 20s, 30s, and 40s that I started getting into comics, and started doing all that stuff. So, and I mean, I think I've got that exact same one at home.
It was a free gift we gave you.
I know. I've got it at home somewhere.
I bet you don't remember what the free gift was for.
No, I don't.
During COVID, we did a Not So Secret Santa, where Frozen Dead readers.
I remember that.
Books for not so fortunate readers. And they got sent worldwide, from even to Canada and as far as to England.
I remember that. Yes.
Every single copy of Frozen Dead graphic novels I still had in stock sold out because of your guys' generosity. So I want to give you the shout out as well. So thank you.
Oh,
because you and several other readers put my graphic novels in the hands of people that couldn't afford to buy them.
See, I remember that conversation that we had, because it was through Facebook that we were having that. And it was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Not a problem, because it was a good thing to do. And that's one thing that kind of, has always struck me with the Frozen Dead, is that you're not actually putting it out there for profit.
Well, I care about my readers. My readers are my extended family. I love you guys with all my heart. I mean, I seriously do, because what's an entertainer without an audience, for one thing?
Right.
But I also remember my roots. That little story about being homeless when do this shit. You know what I mean? No one should have to pay for fucking entertainment. Yes, we got to make money. Yes, you have bills and you got paper and materials, or with the music. But in general, There's always should be something available to people, whether they're homeless or poor or laid off or in COVID when the whole world fucking went crazy and got shut down. Something for people to do to keep their mind off just how depressing shit really can fucking be in this horrible fucking world.
Right.
Like my last banner, I change my banner periodically or on the bookmarks that I put out. Horrible comics for a horrible world.
But hang on for a second. Sorry, I had a cough.
Well, it's nice of you to mute too. That was
I know,
polite.
right? I didn't the first
Very
time.
polite of you.
Yeah, I don't want everybody to get, infected. Anyways.
Wow, we've done this for 13 minutes already.
Already, I know,
This may be
right?
a good special.
I know.
Probably why I got to take a piss, but
but again, so I mean, like I said, not for profit, and there's a reason for it because of what you went through your life. And when we were talking about it during COVID, it was, and you brought that up, and I was like, hey, that's good. And I know there was one lady, I think in particular, who had gotten a free copy, and that you had sent it to. I know of one in particular, and I don't think she's with us anymore. I don't think.
no, my friend Crystal passed away.
Right.
She had gotten some. Her daughter has the book, so I talk to her daughter once in a while. I still contact Lily. Her nickname online is Lily Munster, but that was her mother called her Lily Munster. But I do contact Crystal's daughter. Crystal was a hell of a great reader. She became a dear friend. And sadly, a lot of people don't realize this now, not talking ill, but Crystal couldn't read all my comics. I had to send her stuff in advance because she could have seizures.
Right.
So I would show her daughter some images before I would show her mom. That's one of the things how I started talking to Lily. So yeah, Crystal's no longer with us.
Right.
But she's just one of the many, sadly, one of the many readers I've lost. And I've dedicated a book to Crystal. I dedicated a book to my friend Gomer as well. Before I get misty-eyed over this, like how we met. We talked about this already, so we're not going to go over the whole fucking story. But we had a mutual friend,
Right.
Terry M. West, who did audiobooks for. I drew his fucking characters, Bubba and Sisa, blah, blah, blah. So that's how we met. But through mutual friends, that's how I met my friend Tracy. Tracy Crockett was called Necrostein. I even named the character after him. Pickles von Necrostein is named after his screen name. He, at the last minute, now this goes back to fucking Buffman, the comic artist that got me the job in the Daily Texan, his character Buffman. I got a hold of Jeff Young after all those years. And I said, hey, do you want to do the forward for my first book when I came back from Frozen Dead? And I was going to tell Johnny's origin story, which you very awesomely narrated, by the way. And
I don't know about awesomely, but you're welcome.
Well, everybody loves it. So, but anyway, that's how we got our little secret project we can't talk about yet. And it's not Frozen Dead.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. So anyways, Jeff was going to write my narrative, but he kept pushing it off. He was going to do the introduction, and he was going through hard times. And finally I got pissed, and I was like, fuck, I need somebody to do this. Well, Necrostein, and he hated being called his first name, by the way. So Necrostein, he gave us the forward for Johnny Necro Hates You. And the third book is dedicated to him because he had a very bad heart problem. Oof. And he was very, now I am fucking choked up because these guys are my people, why I do what I do. He was instrumental when I first came to Facebook and putting this shit on. I had met him through this, and I met my friend Bettina through this, and I met a friend Heather through that. He started putting Frozen Dead from Comic One on his Texas Terror Entertainment website, which is still up even though he's no longer with us.
Right.
But man, this is why I'm saying my readers are so fucking important to the series. But and that's why I do it for free. You know, you guys buy the graphic novels as soon as the pre-orders are going. It's not like I do hundreds of thousands of fucking copies. I just do enough for you guys that want to collect it because it's free for anybody, and it's not fair that one person has to pay for it when everybody gets it for free.
And you're doing that, and you do that through Facebook. And we had discussed previously that, you know, almost everybody is hooked up digitally these days. And even homeless people have cell phones, and, you know, they have access to free Wi-Fi venues or the library, you know, and there's not many of those standing anymore. But Yeah, I know, right?
Oh,
I mean, but I mean, there are still libraries out there, and they're not as proliferate as what they used to be because, hey, that's where I mean, when I was growing up, that's where you went was the
right.
library. You
As you
know,
know, there's a lot of social commentary in Frozen Dead. This interview is no different. So I'm going to get off topic just for one fucking statement. A lot of
run
people
with
don't
it.
realize. A lot of people don't realize that I'm actually ex-military. I'm ex-army. Way before Frozen Dead and all that, and that was as a political punk rocker. So that being said, with the missing libraries and with all the fucking bullshit that's been going on in this world, I'm gonna say one goddamn thing. I got fucked after the service, which is fine, but I'll never regret serving this country. But I have yet to fucking find it since I got back.
Understandable. I mean, this country is not what it was when I was growing up. It really isn't. It's not even sometime I want to say probably around the 80s or 90s, the country started getting really, really lost. Late 80s to mid 90s. That's my opinion.
We could do a whole special on that. So long story short, people need free entertainment more than fucking ever,
They absolutely do. And I'm
especially with
100%.
intelligence in the writing, because not every Frozen Dad's a dick and fart joke. It's got fucking meaning behind it, and most
Right.
of it is treat each other with respect.
And see, when you had me do the origin story, it was like, sure. I mean, why not? I didn't ask for anything from that. It was like you approached me, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. But because it's entertainment, and that's what people need. They need the entertainment. That's what keeps them going. Frozen Dead is tongue in cheek. I mean, there's, as you put it, a lowbrow comedy. So, but there are moments in Frozen Dead that are not so funny.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I think you've got like what 24 listed as
the darkest moments,
the darkest
and there
moments.
are sad moments too. You were talking about how there is other emotions in it. There are definitely scenes that actually made me cry when I reread what I was writing. Like seriously, like it's it's very relatable. It's for a fucking zombie and his alcoholic gang banging, sex fiend, chain smoking, still beating heart.
Whoa!
A lot of real shit in there. So, but yes, there
Right?
is a list. I compiled the top 24 darkest moments in Frozen Dead history,
Whoa.
which
Okay.
I will add visuals. I posted them in the group. Tomb of the Frozen Dead. If you're a member of our private group, Tomb of the Frozen Dead, you can see the pictures, follow along. This is
Right.
like one of those old records with the I can read, but you follow the beep, turn the page shit.
So,
So,
number
and
one.
you tell me which ones of these you remember. No particular order. Johnny Necro destroys the entire multiverse with time travel. Yeah, that's a pretty big one, right?
That
Everything that
well,
exists everywhere is destroyed.
yeah, when you destroy the entire multiverse, yeah, that's a pretty big one.
Now, for those who haven't read it, and a refresher for our wonderful co-host here.
Yeah, because I mean, we had this conversation earlier today, and my memory is not instant recall here.
So basically, all of fiction at one point or another has been real in Frozen Dead under the U.S. government's legal parody law. Meaning, I do not claim to own Superman, but Superman can be in Frozen Dead.
Sure.
I can draw him slightly different, or I can draw him looking pretty similar.
Or,
Parody.
or you could draw a Batman with glasses.
There you go. I can do whatever the
Nobody
fuck
would
I want.
recognize
Let
him.
me be honest. Parody means I can legally do whatever the fuck I want as long as I don't claim to own it.
Sure.
So, before we get into this time travel part, Frozen Dead is like the bastard grandchild of Saturday Night Live, Marvel's Not Brand X, What the, Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Magazine, and Cracked all rolled together in some sexy orgy of bullshit.
Ta-da!
So that being said, and I also do different themes. I do different plot ideas. when I decided to do a time travel story, I went into it knowing one basic thing. You cannot do a time travel story and have it fucking make sense.
Sure.
So, all of fiction existed in Frozen Dead because of this moment. Johnny went back in time after stealing the DeLorean from Marty McFly to threaten George Lucas to stop altering Star Wars. That's moment one. However, it took 3 different time travel events to cause this cataclysmic event. The 1996 Johnny was a human. That was in the origin story you read.
Right.
In the year 2525, they're still around. In the year 2525,
Oh, who was
Johnny
that?
Necro and Brett are still alive. That's why I picked the year, by the way.
That's a good reason to do that. Yes, that's a great song.
It is. I have it on vinyl.
Damn.
Now, they are zombies. Brett is a zombie because he came out of a zombie. But he was a chain smoker. How many, are you good at math? Because I'm not. How many fucking years down the line is 2525?
1 and 2 months.
Yeah, okay. So anyways.
No, 25. That'd be 524 years and 3-ish months, 2-ish months.
So Brett, being a chain smoker, has started to whizzle up and wad in this Krang from Ninja Turtles wad of bubblegum looking fucking nasty, to the point with his emphysema, he won't die, but he's living in a Darth Vader style respirator helmet. And he becomes,
yes.
Brett Vader. He is Brett Vader. And he creates a clone army combining his DNA with other fictitious characters. Thus, Robo Brett, Jabba the Hutt, Boba Brett. That's why they existed.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then Johnny is rotting really bad. Originally, just his face was a skull.
He's a zombie. What do you expect?
So he starts replacing his body parts with other famous robots. He has Johnny Five's lower torso. He's the reason C-3PO in Force Awakens has a red arm, because Johnny has the gold arm. He has Wolverine's claws. He's got a Cyberman upper chest with a Star Wars restraining bolt. Because, listen, Doctor Who fan, what do Cybermen do in their sole purpose? To create more Cybermen.
Create some more Cybermen, yes.
The only thing keeping it from taking over the rest of his body is a restraining bolt from Star Wars.
Okay.
His head, where Brett had shot him years ago, is already fallen back off. So he has a partial Borg helmet.
Okay.
And that restraining bolt helps that too.
Right.
So he's got all this shit wrong with him. And Brett is looking for him. Brett is living on the Breast Star in the Star Horrors universe. Well, it's Brett.
It's Brett. Go figure.
So my other character, Nick Bounty, who you just finally got to read finally.
Yes.
Nick Bounty's my alien, the inept bounty hunter.
Right.
Is hired to track and kidnap Johnny's past self somehow. Mysteriously. Well, the 10th Doctor owed him a favor. So the David Tennant version of Doctor Who takes the TARDIS back in time and kidnaps Johnny Necro and brings him to 2525, where he is molded back in the full flesh with a Terminator Skynet molding system.
501 year, 2 months ish.
So he can be sent back into his own past with a chip in his brain and a secret mission. Now, Johnny already went back to whenever Lucas started altering Star Wars. Okay?
Okay.
Coincidentally, causing George Lucas to sell to Disney.
Okay.
Then, there was one of them going to the future and then sent back to the 90s. They pass each other in the time stream. The universe freaks out. and implodes. And in a desperate attempt to fix itself, grabs the only thing constant in the past, present, and future, Johnny Necro. And all the fiction that's been in his brain becomes real in the Frozen Dead universe. You didn't know that part, did you?
I did not know that part. No.
That's how I got away with backdooring an excuse of why Wolverine and everybody else was real back in the fucking 90s and why I got rid of it temporarily in the 2000s.
Right.
Because I had enough characters to fill the void. I didn't need parodies when they could just be like Jay and Bob and talk about pop culture.
Sure.
But you can't break an omelet with or make an omelet without breaking an omelet. You can't make an omelet without
can't break an omelet without making a few eggs.
There you go. So long story short, and this is just number one, by the way. He destroyed the universe, but he also saved the universe. And it became the Necroverse.
It became the Necroverse.
Which was that last story with all the various versions of Frozen Dead, including public domain stories like The Wizard of Oz and your starter piece, Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, which I really didn't change much of the dialogue.
No.
I made Scrooge a zombie, but I explained it with nobody liked him, so nobody noticed.
That's true. You did.
So, number two. You recently read Captain Chaos character. I'm talking to Bryan as well as all of you, but all my new readers, I'm doing the reruns, one, to free me up to do other projects, but two, to get everybody caught up because this is a long fucking series.
Yeah.
So
24 years.
Exactly. In the Captain Chaos part of the story, there's the Blind Bomber. His origin story is one of the darkest fucking moments in this series. He was a cop on the bomb squad. He was investigating a high school. This is before high school shootings were becoming relevant, to the point where Stephen King stopped releasing his one story in his original Bachman book collection. We'll get to that another time. But anyways, he finds a girl hiding in the locker room at the school, smoking a cigarette, thinking it's another false alarm. She sees a guy in the locker room, maces him, and runs off. And that's when Edwin O'Reilly finds the bomb, and it blows up in his fucking face. And he becomes the villain, the Blind Bomber.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't realize at the when I read through the storyline, it didn't occur to me that he was actually the villain.
Right.
It did. I mean, that.
It was because he's inept. He shows up with a bowling ball and blows up his own fucking house. He's a very comical character. He has an A on his chest and doesn't realize it until he's pointed out by one of the superheroes.
Because he's blind.
And he goes, "What A?" So he changes his name to Ammunition, the ace of accuracy, with Boomer the blind the bomb squad dog. Which Toadman took his dog. He took his fucking dog from him.
Wow.
Which brings us to number 3, the death of Toadman. Eventually, and this was towards the end of the regular Frozen Dead run before I went into the claymation story and everything. At that point, Blind Bomber is given cybernetic eyes. And he kills Toadman. Toadman left behind a son who eventually discovers, and I haven't shown this, so spoiler, a secret room and finds out who his father was. And there was a suit for Tadpole Lad. He was going to bring his son in.
Oh.
That's pretty fucking sad.
It's pretty fucked up.
Number 4. Brett kills an old man to escape prison. Brett lies about his blood type for a work release program to be put inside an elderly man in need of a heart transplant.
I remember that storyline. Yep.
So, number 5, in Poorly Drawn Hell, we see a demonic giant roadrunner ass raping a coyote for eternity. who holds up a sign saying "Not again." Not
Again,
everybody is a Frozen Dead character that gets fucked over by Frozen Dead.
again, it's demonic hell, is it not?
Poorly drawn hell.
Poorly drawn hell. That's it. Poorly drawn hell.
It's where cartoon characters and pretentious artists go to the afterlife. There's an Escher room. The Escher room is a rickety set of fucking stairs. They walk up and fall off.
Continuously in a loop.
Stepping on nails and shit, and then they just fall off instead of the big elaborate painting.
Okay.
So, number 6. The Pillsbury Doughboy in the claymation limbo.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. He's become a serial killer from all the times being poked in his fucking belly. He's gone insane like everybody else.
Right. He becomes a body part collector.
Yeah. Number 7. Bret Hart shits in Johnny's skull to get it back from the ghost that's possessing Johnny's body.
I think I remember that one.
Oh, he destroys his body so bad when Johnny's ghost comes back. He goes, "You know, I needed that, right?" Thus, he gets Dr. Chud to put Johnny back together, stealing a small chunk of Johnny's brain to be put in Pickles von Neckerstein.
Yes.
For the non-evil ghost that used to live in Johnny's head to have a home in, thus making him semi-retarded because he only has a little piece of brain.
Only has a little piece of brain.
And now Johnny can't remember the ending of Twin Peaks. It's a hell of a sacrifice right there.
Right there. Does anybody ever remember the end of Twin Peaks?
I do. He got possessed by the demon that was in the father of Laura Palmer.
You know, I don't even remember the end of that series, but whatever.
Okay, let's see. Here's a sad one. Number 8. Remember I said Johnny had to time travel in his own past looking human?
Yes.
Time traveling Johnny Necro witnesses his past human self discover the dead body of his adopted father.
Vincent.
Yes. Leonard P. Vincent. Named after
Leonard P. Vincent.
Leonard Price. All right. Number 9.
9.
We're going all the way back to the first day Johnny was born. The origin story that you narrated. Do you remember the very first page?
You know, I honestly don't.
That's okay. A mental hospital asks a patient to dispose of baby Johnny.
Yes, I do now.
His mother was in a mental institution, and I'm going to reveal a secret. I've never actually spelled this out for people. This was the 70s. He was born, mid-70s. Right. Now, you know and I know growing up, when we were younger, movies like Amityville Horror, The Exorcist, The Omen were a lot scarier before we were like, okay, yeah, that's some fairy tale bullshit.
Right.
So everybody was devil scared.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
negative comments because I just made the anti-religion fucking joke, but whatever.
Whatever.
My comment.
Well, even back in the 80s, you had
D&D, the cults saying the fucking the satanic
all the religious cults. Yeah, it was satanic panic is what the catchphrase was.
So Johnny's mother heard voices and was committed. He was born in the insane asylum. She was hearing ghosts. Thus, Johnny inherits the gift without realizing it. And in that origin story, in the second version, Johnny Necro Still Hates You, we see the ghost he was talking to,
right?
Necrogeist, which is his soul.
Yes.
Because of the time travel story, in that future, we're back to Star Wars. Sorry, we got to do this because it's on a tangent. In the Star Wars universe, Brett's asshole kid, Heineken Skullfucker, he makes Brett look like a Boy Scout. It's looking. Oh, and that's on the list too. So we won't. I can't say that part yet. Anyways, At the end of that story arc, a lightsaber goes through the restraining bolt, and the Cyberman starts changing Johnny's body, and wires come out of his chest and grab Brett to complete the
bring him back in. Yes,
put him back in. And Johnny's last coherent thought is no, and he lets himself fall backwards into the lava. And we see Terminator style. You remember in Terminator 2, this? You see this, and then Brett's hand.
Yes.
So he killed himself. Okay? So the devil owned his soul, because that's the mortal sin.
Of course.
So the poorly drawn version of Satan in another part of the storyline back in the past, who hell is everywhere and every when.
No, yes.
So he knows he owns Johnny's soul. So when Johnny in the time travel story freezes himself to wake back in his present timeline, there's already a new timeline because of the time travel differences. His soul goes to fucking hell. And the devil says, I own you, rips him open and creates Necrogeist. With amnesia, he doesn't remember he's Johnny Necro. That's my character makes that joke. When you started reading The Ghost of Christmas Past, that's Necrogeist. When he goes to Ebenezer Scrooge, another version of Johnny, and he goes, Spirit, I feel beside myself. Necrogeist goes, buddy, that's more true than you know. Consider we're both alternate realities of the same guy. So look at how it all goes eventually full circle.
Eventually comes into, and that's the one thing, is that a lot of your stories, they play into other stories that you just don't realize.
Hell, I don't realize it until I fucking write it. And I go, oh.
There you go. Straight from the author himself. He doesn't realize what he's doing.
Oh, what do I always say? If I can't surprise me, why the fuck would you be surprised?
Exactly.
So, long story short, it goes back to this. Now we're in number 10. Back to the Terminator story. Human-looking zombie Johnny in his own past. With Johnny Vincent. Human Johnny.
Right.
And by the way, that's all an adopted name. Johnny is not his real name. Vincent's not his name.
Right.
He was in that Johnny Cat bag. That's why Leonard named him Johnny.
Johnny, yes.
And Leonard was Vincent, so he was Johnny Vincent because he adopted him.
Right.
And, there's a beautiful hidden part about Leonard I'll get into later. Just please try to... Never mind. You can't remember.
I can't remember.
I'll try to remember to tell you the Leonard story that's really special. But anyways, this goes back to the Terminator saga. When Nick Bounty had Doctor Who take Johnny to the future, he got remolded, sent to his own past with a special mission. It was to protect his human self from Brett's Terminators.
Yeah.
Brett sent the B-1000 liquid refreshment. The old Terminator,
yes.
And this is fucking cool because I never got to show Johnny grow up because, he died as a teenager.
Right.
But this was my loophole. This is fucking great. And you don't remember because you haven't got to read this part.
I haven't got to read that part.
You'll love it. And you own it. Shame on you. No, I'm kidding.
I know,
You're
right?
You're a busy guy. You'll get to in the reruns.
I get to it eventually.
So, spoiler for you, which you'll forget. So that's perfect. That's the best.
Hey, it'll be brand new to me later on.
In that 25-25, before the timeline started erasing itself backwards to rewrite the new one, the Terminator was exactly the same as Johnny Necro looking human. But there was a smudge on the screen when Nick Bounty, who we already know is a moron,
yeah, true,
tried to fulfill his job requirement. He sent him too far back in time. So while Johnny Necro got sent into the 90s, the Terminator got sent into the 80s and had to age.
Just to catch up. Just to catch up, you had to wait all those years.
He shows up with Arnold-style physique, but Johnny human face. Wearing the fucking leather jacket, he stole off a fucking Mr. T-looking dude. So I could do the whole joke. That son of a bitch stole my pants. I'm not against plagiarism if it's just for reference.
Sure. Well, it's not even really considered plagiarism now, is it? No.
No.
Oh.
I always love that line in Terminator. That son of a bitch just stole my pants.
Yep.
And you think about it. Side note: John Connor was born because his mom fucked some nasty guy wearing a homeless dude's dirty underwear.
You just can't make this stuff up because somebody else already has.
And that's what influences me. So, back to number 10. The first Terminator fails. You watch old Doctor Who. Have you watched new Doctor Who?
Which new?
Weeping Angels.
Yes.
Okay, because you haven't read it, spoiler. All this shit has been creating time energy.
Okay.
What do fucking Weeping Angels eat?
Time energy.
Time energy. So they're fucking hunting. In Terminator, in the graveyard, Johnny looks up, he goes, I don't remember that stuff. The Terminators are fighting. Basically the Arnold version.
Right.
Fighting the B-1000 version. You know, the B-1000 is getting ready to attack him. He goes, you have any last words? And he goes, don't blink. And closes his eyes. He closes his eyes so the Weeping Angels send them back further in time. He saves Johnny's life. Johnny goes to change his clothes in his former childhood bedroom, and the closet door opens, and we see an elderly Johnny pull a hood back like in Genesis, and he goes, I've been waiting for you. The poor B-1000 is back. Ready for another reference? He goes, 1 million years BC. Right when the meteor hits the earth. There's a dinosaur attacking him, and it shows the meteor. Oh, see, you like my comic even more than you realize.
You just don't know. You really don't.
So back to the number 10, which I still haven't said. You remember Terminator 3 with the female Terminator who grows her tits big to get out of the speeding ticket and shit?
Yes.
She comes back.
Okay.
New face Johnny, the zombie Johnny, while his human counterpart is knocked unconscious in a fucking casket. So I could draw the scene with the casket on the shoulder and the big fucking gun. Rips the face off of zombie Johnny, nerve endings and all, very slowly destroying his face again. And he feels he fucking yeah, that's number 10.
And we're laughing about it.
Number 11, Gizmo starves to death in a closet. Around July of one year, I did a joke where Brett's talking to Johnny. And for those who don't know, I have Johnny and Brett's voices because I'd like to do a cartoon if anybody out there likes to animate. Sure. And I'd like this man to be a fucking narrator in this series. Please hire us so he can stop fucking moving away from his wife and I can stop working at a job I don't want to be at.
Right? Wouldn't that be nice?
So I'll do their voices for this one because, I got pretty good memory with this shit. He goes, God damn it. What's the matter? I forgot to give you a Christmas present. That's okay. You can give it to me now. Yeah, I don't think that's such a good idea, bub. It pans to the closet where you see this rotten fucking Gizmo holding a sign saying Merry Christmas, Johnny. And then a flashback. We see the Asian man from Gremlins. With Mangwai come great responsibility. Yeah, Kung Fu. Save that shit for Peter Parker's fucking fortune cookie.
Now, if I remember correctly, we had this conversation when I was originally when I did the origination story there, that you imagine Brett having the voice of Danny DeVito.
Pretty close, yes.
Yeah.
He would have a great voice for Brett, wouldn't he?
I think he would, yes.
Have you watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia yet?
I have never watched an episode
Watch
of that.
it. Fuck, I fell in love with it and fell in love with it. Second season, Danny shows up, whole new show. And they're all great actors. They're all fucking hilarious.
Right.
He just plays the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen him be. And that includes Twins.
Wow.
Or Ruthless People.
Or Taxi.
Oh, yeah. He was an asshole in Taxi. That voice there, though, that's young Brett. Except for I'd never heard Danny DeVito swear until Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's true. He never really did he?
Yeah.
Not that I can recall.
And
Of course, and we're talking about my memory, so
to do Brett, you got to swear.
Right.
So, number 12. You recently, again, familiar with Captain Chaos.
Yes.
Steroid abuser in a cheesy spandex costume.
Right.
Paralyzes the elderly scientist, Dr. Nothing Extraordinary, and then hides the evidence. He flicks him and cripples him and then kicks his ass after that whole crazy moment of roid rage, holding him in his body, rocking back and forth. You poor man. He kisses him on the head. He fucking kicks him off. And we haven't seen him since. Number 13. Back to the year 2525 for this one. Jabba the Hutt takes Pickles von Neckerstein's penis as a trophy after Brett loses a pod racing bet.
I don't think that needs further discussion.
Nope.
No, I think that's...
While we're in the year 2525. Heineken Skullfucker kills Pickles von Neckerstein slowly in front of his father while trying to gain the location of his sister so he can kill her.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah. We're not going to go further on that either.
No.
I told you he was a piece of shit. He even stole the Evil Dead out of Brett. That was his Force-like powers. It left Brett because he was a shell. He was a bad host. It went right to his son.
Wow.
And even though that universe doesn't exist, I never showed who his mother is or when he was born, and they are immortal. I will say this. Eventually, he is coming back to Frozen Dead. We have not seen the last of him, or the beginning, as I should say. Number 17. Oh, no, 16. No, 15. I can't even read my own writing.
Okay.
And we already discussed this. Satan tears out Johnny Necro's soul. So,
right.
The creation of Necro, that is pretty bad. That's still pretty bad, man. He gave him amnesia and he escaped hell, and who knows where he is.
Yeah.
Number 11. Brett bursts out of Johnny Necro's chest. That's when the universe took Brett. After Brett fell out of the comic in book 3. Okay. And then made his way back in after he attacks me. This isn't on the list, but it should be. Threatened to shove a pencil up my dick hole. That's not on the list. That's pretty bad. I drop him back into the fucking comic. Johnny Necro Hates You. He lands in the new timeline. He goes, when the hell do we get a cat? The Hazel cat story about my dead cat.
Right.
And Anne's dead cat. You know, he's in the new timeline then. I just didn't tell anybody until books later. So when he finally come face to face with Johnny Necro, Johnny was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. Why is there a floating heart? Because parodies aren't real in that timeline.
Right.
Okay. There's monsters. There's a lesbian werewolf. She's awesome. You know, Janie Talbert. There's other fucking monsters, but they're mine.
They're all your creations.
All my creations in that world. Right. No other shit. All things else is fake. Evil Dead is fake again. Star Wars is fake again. All that. So when they came face to face, the universe had to fix itself so it didn't get destroyed again. It put him in the land of abandoned and forgotten ideas where he found his daughter.
Oh.
And realized she was there because of Minnie Mouse being her mother. She could no longer exist in the new timeline.
Right.
Pickles von Neckerstein could no longer exist in the new timeline. Other characters could no longer exist, and they were stuck there. So, why couldn't Pickles exist? Because Brett was never cut out of Johnny's chest.
Right.
And Brett is the one who got Dr. Chud, our first special guest, and return special guest to put the piece. See how this is all tied together? It
all ties together.
That's why time travel stories ruined Frozen Dead, but made it better at the same time.
Sure.
So, we're going to skip back now. Here we go. 17. Mr. Smarty Pants, smartest and richest man in Frozen Dead. He is the black philanthropist who's also a villain, Lauren Jacobs. in the Captain Chaos world, right?
Right.
He doesn't think he's a villain. He's like Lex Luthor or the Kingpin from Daredevil. Mr. Smarty Pants and Adolf Presley. We gotta go there real quick. Adolf Presley was a scientist that worked for Mr. Smarty Pants as a designer, and he was trying to create a clone with the sex appeal of Elvis and the dominance of Adolf Hitler. Blew up his face and combined their DNAs to create this little fucking amalgam of Adolf Hitler and Elvis Presley. So he always says, "Thank you very much." So, okay, they turn a homeless vet into a plastic glob.
I don't remember that one.
You haven't seen it yet.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
In your book you own, but you haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
It's in what else? Never mind. Oh, Tales Volume 2.
Oh, okay.
And it has all that's why they're on the covers. It has Captain Chaos stories and it has Nick Bounty stories. So they're trying to create their own superheroes. Because remember, Mr. Smarty Pants doesn't consider himself a villain.
Right.
He's actually jealous of them. So he gets a fucking deal with the government to create heroes. Now, number 18. Gumby the Dictator and his Holocaust in Claymation Limbo.
Oh, yes.
Anybody he deemed a threat was immediately destroyed.
Oh, yes. That was a sadistic little shit.
And you didn't know he was bad until it goes and he starts killing his own people.
Well,
like Goo. Goo was killed by him. He had Pokey trample her to death after he found out that she had sex with Brett and one of the blockheads.
Right.
So, we're still in Claymation. Grimace and the Happy Meal kids sacrifice for the McCult and their eventual McCrucifixion.
Yep. I remember that.
Enough said. Read it. It's in the fucking Random Insanity Productions album.
I remember that one.
More Claymation. People don't realize how dark that story was.
You know, for 2 years, that story was exceptionally dark.
The Mr. Peanut California Raisin Murder-Suicide.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's fucking dark.
Oh, yeah.
Number 21, and I am not going to take credit for this, but the creator of Wizard of Oz Balm, because I did Wizard of Oz using actual shit from the Wizard of Oz, the origin of the Tin Man of Oz. In case people don't realize this, the Tin Man was human.
Yes.
He fell in love.
In the original story, yes.
Yes. Her mentor / parent figure did not like that and made a deal with one of the witches who enchanted the axe of the woodsman, which cut every piece of him off, and he slowly replaced it with tin, and that's how he has no heart.
Yep.
And I did that in Frozen Dead, so that's pretty fucking dark. So
that is real dark.
22. We all know by now Johnny Necro is like a fucking almost vegan version of a zombie. He eats meat, but he doesn't eat people.
Right.
So the Texas Chili Massacre, where he goes to the Sawyer family restaurant and gets fed a clown without realizing it, and he says, "This tastes funny." Pretty fucking dark.
Only so you could get that joke in, huh?
Exactly. So later, which I didn't reveal until the new timeline, you know, in the Return of the Living Dead, how they felt pain. That's why they ate brains, because the chemical temporarily eased them feeling themselves rotting and shit.
Yes.
The new Johnny, why he's not emo like the original Johnny and why he's a little more hardcore, secretly chews beef jerky and shit. So he's constantly eating flesh.
Right.
To ease the pain of being dead.
Ah.
Okay. Back to Necrostein for this next one. Number 23. Necrostein kills a bunch of people while trying to kill his own boredom. In the fucking origin story, he was spinning the heads like in The Exorcist.
Yes.
Broke their neck.
Okay.
Worst of all, this one deserves to be number 1, but it's number 24. It's called Save the Pumpkin, Carve the Kids. It was most vibrantly shown in the Christmas special, which the Necro Before Xmas and other Tales of Frozen Dead hijinks. There's a scarecrow holding a pumpkin in his hand, and the pumpkin is saying, "My hero." In the other hand is a straight razor dripping blood, and his foot is on several children's heads with candles on their tongues. I would say that's the darkest moment in Frozen Dead history.
Yeah, those are some pretty. I mean, there are dark moments in Frozen Dead. I mean, but you get that pretty much with anything fiction. In any comic strip, you'll get those dark moments, you know. But I mean, for the most part, it's just, to me, it's more of how do I put this? It's more of a play on what has already happened in other storylines by others and what happens in society.
Right.
Anyhow. Well, after that darkness of the 24 darkest moments in Frozen Dead history, I know you put out something for people to acknowledge Frozen Dead and you know, to contribute to Frozen Dead as well. I know you posted it out there for people to do, and we should probably take a moment to put those into this video.
And I would love to acknowledge the people that took their time, even those that didn't have time. Just being there. I appreciate you. Let's hear what they had to say.
Hey now, cats, this is Balls from Elwood, and I just want to say, whenever you want comics with a punk rock aesthetic, cool characters, cool art, you want to reach for Frozen Dead comics, I just want to say happy 24th anniversary, Frozen Dead, and I hope there's many, many more. Peace and love, peace and love.
I just wanted to give a happy 24-year anniversary to the Frozen Dead comics and to my man, Johnny Necro. Here's to 24 more gory-filled years.
Hey Johnny, here's your celebratory fanfare for the 24th anniversary of the Frozen Dead. Keep the great stories and mayhem coming.
Just gotta say happy 24-year anniversary to Frozen Dead comics. I gotta thank my man Johnny Necro for putting me on a few years back. And my life has never been the same since, but I really enjoy reading your stuff. It's been a great ride, and I look forward to so many more books and so many more things coming from Frozen Dead. Take care.
24th anniversary to the Frozen Dead. Keep rocking it, Johnny.
Johnny, happy anniversary to the Frozen Dead comics from the guys at Great Media Comic Con and Free Trade Entertainment. Cheers, Pat.
Best known as Amanda Kruger, the mother of evil Freddy Krueger. And I'm shouting out to Frozen Dead. Happy anniversary, you guys. Awesome.
Hi, I'm Johnny's mom, and I want to take this opportunity to say how very proud I am of him and his 24 years of the Frozen Dead. Who knew when he was a little boy taping in the cemetery how far he'd come in life? I'm just so proud of all of his accomplishments, and I hope to see many more Frozen Dead stories in the future. Congratulations, son. I love you and I'm proud of you.
I've mentioned before my stories, I try to do something different with each story. Like, obviously, you don't want to repeat shit. But if you notice now, even though it started as a horror punk comic.
Sure.
I've done other genres. I've done drama. I've done the sci-fi. I've done the adventure story. I've done, the time travel story, shit like that. I've been blessed. I've had a couple guest stars. I'm doing the book first before it gets put online for free.
Okay.
Because next April, I'm a repeat guest in Media, Pennsylvania at the Great Media Comic-Con. I wanted to do something special for both that and for the 24-year anniversary. So we're going to do the graphic novel, release it then. We're going to skip the next sequential book until after that.
Okay.
That's on hold. Horridorables are now on hold after I finish drawing one more character. Just music and Frozen Dead will be the only things I'm working on until further notice. Because you got to take breaks when you do so much shit.
Sure.
But the one thing I've never done is a mystery. This is the mystery. And it's a tribute to the old Scooby-Doo movies where they had guest stars. So, I've mentioned Dr. Chud was a guest star before. He's coming back for this. He said, sure, yeah, that's awesome. That sounds fun. All these are real celebrities that I've done Horridorables of, who I asked very, very politely. I said, would you like to be in the 24th Frozen Dead? I'm doing a kind of Scooby-Doo new movies tribute where they go to a horror convention. And I started compiling the yeses. My first one was last year with Butch Patrick.
Right.
I got Eddie Munster in my comic. That's going to be great.
That's going to be awesome.
I've met some of the best people in my life because of Horridorables. Beatrice, who played Amanda Kruger. You know who Beatrice is. C. Ernst Hart, the 13 Ghosts, the Great Child, and he was Minor 49er, and he's in so much shit that I watch, and I can't even do it justice.
Right.
He agreed right away. I just got Pam Purple from Troma. She's in Citizen Toxie and a few of the other Troma movies, and she's a singer in a band. She was excited to be in it, and a few other Troma-related people. I got Vito, one of the actors from Troma, who was one of the Cretans in Return to Nukem High and in My Bloody Banjo and in Eating Miss Campbell. He still does stuff for them. And my friend Mike Fink, who is an independent contractor for Lloyd Kaufman. These people are all so important. And then I got James Stokes. James Stokes played Jason Voorhees in the Jason Pitts movie, Night of the Beast. He's a fucking good actor. He was on Stranger Things as a paramedic, and he's very receptive to me. We were with Beatrice last May in Media, PA at a convention for the first time, and I'm the one who told James about it. I was like, hey, get a hold of these guys. And he became a guest there. You know what I mean? And so he's in it. And then I got Jeff Norton. Jeff Norton is a really cool resale vendor. He sells collectibles, Texas Chainsaw posters, Bart Simpson dolls, whatever. I met him at the Syracuse Con I was a guest at. So I'm drawing him as one of the vendor booths, because he's been reading ever since.
Right.
There are other people like Paul Taylor. Paul Taylor was Pinhead. He was in Hellraiser Judgment. That's a big step, taking on the role of Pinhead.
Oh, yes.
He did a bang-up job. I asked him before anybody else, before Horridorables existed. I had this idea. And he had said yes back then. After I drew his character, he was even more down. This one's pretty big. I've got David Howard Thornton, Art the Clown.
Wow.
Yeah. He had said yes before I ever drew him as a Horridorable. Again, this idea came years ago to do the convention story, but it hasn't fit in until yet. And I mean, Michelle Limblaski, she's doing the unofficial sequel to Halloween 3. It comes out next week.
Nice.
Believe it or not, we found out online. We became friends because of Horridorables, all that. We're from the same ghetto in Detroit, just a few years apart.
Wow.
And she ended up making me a producer on the film because I've been helping promote it. And then just in August, which I told you and a lot of other people, she got a hold of me and she says, hey, you want to film a remote scene? I need to put you in a commercial within the movie. Yep. So my acting debut is in this movie now. So that's pretty cool.
Between the Frozen Dead and Horridorables and all this other stuff, you're making more contacts and making headway with stuff too.
Right. But also people got to realize it's not like I'm selling out off of their contacts either.
No.
And as big as they are, I mean, not everybody who reads my comic knows that they don't watch all the same shit as we do.
Right.
You know, they read Frozen Dead, and I'm not selling an extra 10,000 copies because, I get to draw this person who played such and such in it. No, I'm making maybe 100 copies most. Counting, they're going to have to get a free copy of the book. They're being nice to me. I got to do something nice.
Sure.
Oh, I'll probably have to crowdfund. I will be crowdfunding anybody who wants to help pay for a book so I can send it to my famous friends. Please do. But anyways, I out of pocket this shit in pre-sales. You know what I mean?
Right.
You guys pay to print Frozen Dead. I just draw it.
Right.
You know, you guys buy your copies and then it's gone forever.
Sure. And then a lot of times, for help, getting it to people who can't maybe afford it,
Right. Or for animals with no homes, which I did that.
Right.
So that was the Santa Paws and Santa Claus.
I remember that.
CLAWS. Cerebus the Aardvark, 40 plus years. Okay, when I was a kid, it was a big deal. I got graphic novels. I missed out on the original run of Ninja Turtle books because they went through the roof.
Right.
My first graphic novels was one, and I still have it. And it was issue 8 of Ninja Turtles was reprinted, and Cerebus was in it. A few years later, when I was reading Spawn before the movie came out, issue 10 comes out. Cerebus is in it. For me, 20-some years later, to be able to play in that sandbox and rub elbows with a character that I read as a kid,
right?
I would have told you fuck off if you ever said that could happen.
Sure, it'd be like me being in Battlestar Galactica. Come on.
Yeah. A mutual friend who went on to actually make. He was at the time in the middle of doing it. He made a Cerebus movie, which is on Tubi TV.
Mm-hmm.
Says, well, he's pretty cool to get a hold of. Dan Fogel of the Underground Comic Price Guide, who did an introduction for one of my books, the third one. He actually gave me Dave Sims' number.
Wow.
I called and left a message. I'm not scared. I'm not like starstruck very much. I do get a little bit like with Butch Patrick. I was like, Monsters is my favorite show. You know what I mean? That's a little bit different.
Right.
But fucking 45 minutes later, the phone rings and it's Dave Sim calling me from Canada. I pitched him my idea then, and I was in the middle of doing the Star Horror Terminator shit.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I can't do this yet. I'm in the middle of a storyline, but I want to stop doing parodies, and I need a narrator, and I want Cerebus to be this narrator. And why not take existing panels and just rewrite them? Then I can be a part of it. Yeah, it takes some of my workload off.
Right.
So I did that. I wrote it, and it was going really good until I needed a Cerebus in my comic. Thus, I had Subuek be thrown in the portal by Cerebus himself because Satan says, you know the deal. you can't leave hell. And he throws them in, and then I draw them. From then on, anytime you see the Subuac is me drawing Cerebus.
Ah,
cool.
That's cool.
I had him destroy all the parodies that were in Poorly Drawn Hell, getting rid of the parodies in Frozen Dead, and thus also Pogo got rescued, but not by him. We already went there. So yeah, so that was a big deal. I mean, that was fucking huge. And when I finally got to do it, I sent all the files to the person who runs the Moment of Cerebus page and archive stuff online. Dave made a video of Frozen Dead. It's on YouTube. And I had sent him books, and he reviewed that shit. And then when the books came out, it's the only single issue I've ever published, as you know, because I do graphic novels because they're cheaper for me and they're cheaper for you.
Right.
He had me take whoever did a pre-order on them, and you got them too, send them to Canada to him, and he signed them. And then he paid out of his pocket and sent them back to me to give to you guys.
Wow.
And then he signed 2 for me and he personalized them. He goes, thanks for letting me audition.
And Ramadan starts tomorrow. So let's get all of our not really suitable for Ramadan material out of the way first, if we can. Coincidentally, the first time that I fasted in Ramadan was in 1999. And it turns out that that was when Johnny Logan Harley was starting his series Frozen Dead. Hey, you want a quote for advertising, Mr. Harley? How about this? Johnny Logan Harley's Frozen Dead makes Cerebus in Hell with a question mark. Issue 4 in stores now. Look like My Little Pony. Very interesting experience reading 17 years, actually almost 18 years of a man's life in, it took me about 2 hours, I guess. Dan Fogel, our old friend from the Underground Price Guide, writes, for the past 17 years, Johnny's created his own underground universe with parodic incursions from mainstream media in Frozen Dead. The strip's title was borrowed from Johnny's contemporaneous horror rock band, and the lead character, Johnny Necro's stage name, was shared by the cartoonist. You see what this is doing to my voice just trying to talk about this stuff? Visually, Necro started out as a combination of 2 characters drawn in a, quote, drummer wanted, unquote, ad for the band. A drummer for a horror rock band? Just picture that. When the Frozen Dead started running in the University of Texas Daily Texan newspaper in 1999, see, the Daily Texan newspaper, Austin, you just know this is trouble. Our boy followed in the footsteps of a rich Austin underground comic scene. Yeah, you're talking about like Wilbert Sturgeon, Gilbert Sheldon, Jack Jackson, Jim Franklin. Rip-Off Press started there. I mean, really, when I say make Cerebus in Hell look like My Little Pony, I'm not yanking your chain, folks. See, this is the cover of volume 2, and this is Johnny here, and this is Johnny's heart, Bret Hart. Get it? Bret Hart. And this is what it says on the splash page of volume 2. See, Johnny Necro only has one eye, so it says. Read the book through the eye of Johnny Necro. Enjoy the comic in gloriously blurred FD Necrovision. So you you cut out your Necrovision glasses and you cut out only one eye hole. 100% better than having a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. and I guarantee it. Free with $25 purchase. Hey kids, ruin your comic. I can't. I can't show you the rest of it. If you really want to read the rest of the splash page of Volume 2, it's going to cost you 25 bills. As you can see, I got copy number 94 out of 100. So if you want one, you better contact Johnny pretty quickly. Did I mention that Brett is Johnny's still living, still beating heart? Night of the Living Brett is Volume 3. Brett enters our world. When there's no more room in hell, the frozen dead shall walk the earth. But don't take the word of a namby-pamby, My Little Pony wannabe creator like Dave Sim. Listen to Tom Sullivan, the FX artist from the original Evil Dead movie. Just got my copy of Tales of the Frozen Dead and Johnny Necro Hates You, and I am now dead from laughing, rotting and dead. So I can enthusiastically endorse and recommend you die reading Johnny Logan Harley's Insane Comics. Let me know how it goes. Laugh in peace. Read it and weep with laughter. Wholesome family entertainment. Not an effing chance. Here's a nice little cozy at-home warm moment with Tom Sullivan from the Evil Dead. That's Tom on the left there. And that is your genial host, Johnny Harley. Has been creating Frozen Dead comics since it was first published in 1999. No one is quite sure if he created Johnny Necro or if Johnny Necro created him. Since 2008, his wife Anne-Marie has taken over editorial duties. The comic has a lot less spelling mistakes now, thanks to her. Welcome to Poorly Drawn Hell. And Cerebus observes, well, at least they are honest. If that wasn't weird enough, then I got to the isolated pages that are not published yet. The Johnny Necro Cerebus in Hell crossover. It's like, did I authorize this? Oh yeah, I guess I did. Yeah, I remember talking to Johnny on the phone now. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, and it's going to be an exception to the rule because Johnny just does graphic novels, doesn't put out a book until he's got a whole book to put out. But he's making an exception in this case. Cerebus in Hell with a question mark in Frozen Dead, number 1/2, RIP 2017. Hell wasn't bad enough, Cerebus saying to himself in his Johnny Necro Elm Street Kid t-shirt from Aardvark Vanaheim and Johnny Harley's Random Insanity Productions. Google search Random Insanity Productions and the search engine should take you straight there, assuming you want to go there. Johnny and his wife Anne-Marie, the proofreader, both signed the I don't believe Dave Sim is a misogynist petition. And okay, major brownie points for Anne-Marie on that score. Thank you. There's not a lot of wives on the petition.
So for those who are interested, here's my version of Johnny Necro Hates You. Frozen Dead, now in glorious Living Dead color. Johnny Necro Still Hates You. Originally published in the first Frozen Dead graphic novel, Johnny Necro Hates You. Read the story through the eyes of the zombie Johnny Necro. Enjoy this comic in gloriously blurred FD Necrovision. Warning, glasses will not work if you are really blind. Cut out only this eye hole. 100% better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Free digital download. Hey kids, ruin your comic. Cut this shit out. Bonus, scratch and sniff paper scented. More fun than having diarrhea. 21st Anniversary Edition. Dawn of the Frozen Dead. The retold, unrated origin story of Johnny Necro. Now in glorious color. Halloween night, the mid-70s. Kingdom Hospital. Mental Health Clinic.
Get this thing away from me!
A clinic patient and new mother exclaims.
Before they locked me up, I saw the omen and Rosemary's baby. Born to lose was what they said. You know I was better off dead. Born to lose. You're just bad news. You don't get a second chance.
Quit squirming, you little monster. Why the hell did you have to be born in my insane asylum? Lazy doctors always making me do their dirty work. It's always the same. Barry, let me have your medication.
Barry, smother that patient with your pillow. Barry, go out in the pouring rain and get rid of this baby.
They're going to drive me crazier than I already am one of these days. Sheesh. Still, my life could be worse. Heh. Now, you on the other hand, you've been doomed from the moment you were born, you creepy little bastard. Yep, you are one unlucky son of a bitch. Born under a full moon on the devil's night, predestined to attract wickedness and all manner of unnatural things. But then again, what do I know? I'm batshit crazy. Here's your new home.
You rang? Well, it seems that I have fallen prey to some manner of Halloween hootenanny consisting of tomfoolery. It appears that I have been ding-dong ditched. Well. What have we here? Sadly, I fear that there has been an altogether different type of ditching than I first suspected. Such cruel and cowardly deeds lurk only within the monster known as man. I feel that I shall never understand a God that leaves the deserving wanting, yet wastes the miracle of life on those that foolishly toss it away like yesterday's trash. It seems that you have narrowly escaped the dark shroud of Mistress Death's cold embrace, little one. Such a feat is not a thing to be taken lightly, especially considering this is a place where people are brought to be laid to rest. Well, young Johnny, I dare say we've both had enough excitement for one night.
1981.
What smells so good?
I cut myself shaving.
Johnny, please turn off the television set and come here. It's time to make yourself into a dapper little gentleman and begin your education. Remember, let the Force be your guide. Hello there. My name is Johnny. I know who you are. You're that freaky kid who plays in the cemetery and lives with that old man who touches dead people. My old man says that makes him a necro, and I bet you're one too. Johnny Necro wets the bed. Johnny Necro plays with the dead. I don't even know what a necro is, but Leonard is a good man. He makes people who die look nice so that they can say goodbye to the crying people that come visit them. Ow! Even my pet rock doesn't like you, Necro. Johnny Necro, Johnny Necro, Johnny Necro, Johnny Necro, Johnny Necro, Johnny Necro. I want to go home. 1989. Hell yeah! Rockin' like dockin'. Nightmare on Elm Street 5. Here's Johnny. 1, 2, Johnny's coming for you. I hope it's as good as Friday the 13th Part 8. Man, it would be so bitchin' if Freddy ever met Jason. I wonder who would win in a fight. Too bad it'll never happen. 1 ticket to, Little Monsters, please? Later that night. I'm telling you, Freddy is not dead. Being immortal would be so awesome. Freddy's a ghost, and Jason's a zombie. I bet it'd be fun being either one of those things. I'd never have to be treated like crap ever again. I mean, besides Leonard, you are my only friend. Johnny, I've come to say good night, my child. Good night, sir. Strange. I could have sworn that the boy was talking to someone. 1991. This is bullshit. Some first day of freshman year. I can't believe I got suspended because of that dickhead jock. Asswipe. How dare he insult Leonard? Hey, Necro. My old man says your old man's a fudge packer, and I bet you're one too. Ugh. If you ever disrespect Leonard again, I'll burn your fucking house down. You fucking freak. You want to get your teeth knocked out. That's fine with me. You're dead, Necro. You picked the wrong time to grow a pair. Then that idiot of a guidance counselor not only let Chet off with a warning, but kicked me out of school for the rest of the week and gave me Saturday detention, on top of insulting my punk rocker image. Young man, this institution does not tolerate ruffians attacking fellow students. If I were you, I'd try not to draw any more negative attention to yourself by dressing up a little nicer instead of walking around looking like some doggone thug out of the Road Warrior. Unless you want to wind up with your brain on display inside a jar someday. Saturday, the 19th. Psst, hey you, up front. Why the hell are you dressed up like Judd Nelson? Who the fuck wants to know? My name is Chloe Curtis. I just moved here from Castle Rock, Maine, and I got busted cutting class my first day here. You're kind of cute. What's all the ruckus in here? Could you describe the ruckus, sir? 1993. How are your college applications coming, young man? I sent them out, but I still think I'd rather just work here with you. I've been helping with funerals for almost 3 years now. A man who limits his interests limits his life, my boy. Do try to remember that while you are attending to Mr. Scrim in the morgue after dinner. Later. Johnny Vincent is the Reanimator. And I thought they smelled bad on the outside. Well, Fugly, unless you're just a really heavy sleeper, you ain't gonna be needing this anymore. You're getting a closed coffin anyways. Worm food. The next day at school. So, are you just going to sit there like a sissy, or are you going to ask me to go to the prom with you? Are you fucking kidding me? Of course I'll take you, Chloe. I just didn't think that you would want to go to junior prom. Prom night. George Romero, this is the happiest day of my miserable life. Tonight is going to be even better. Good evening. You have reached Morningside Mortuary, where we put the fun back in funerals. Come on down, the price is right. Become a dismember and get your next funeral half off. Our prices are so low, people are dying to be buried by us, and nobody has complained yet. Huh? Oh, sorry, Mr. Curtis. Just a little joke, sir. To be honest, I thought it was Chloe calling me, sir. What's that? Please, tell me you are joking now, sir. You what? You sent her away? I don't give a shit what she did to your car. You couldn't have waited until tomorrow to have her locked up? No, I will not calm down, you yuppie piece of shit. Tonight's the fucking prom, and your horrible parenting skills just cost me my goddamn date. Later. Can you spare some change, young fella? I ain't gonna lie to you. I'll just spend it on booze. Sure, Stinky, but you gotta score me a bottle, too. Fuck it. Get me a pack of smokes, too. It ain't like I'm gonna live forever. Hey, it's your dime. Hell, I'd buy you a handgun if it got me drunk. Moments later. Phew. I suppose I shouldn't have eaten all that White Castle before skateboarding while drinking rum. Oh well, it ain't like my night can get much worse. Meanwhile, outside in the school parking lot. Yo, Chet, why the hell does your truck smell so nasty? Something friggin' reeks in there bad. My old man scored me some pig's blood from his job at the slaughterhouse. We're gonna give Necro a prom to remember. Hey, I know you, yeah? Ain't you that chick who got sent to ER from sticking beads up your nose? Yeah, back in 4th grade. These days, I prefer having other things stuck inside of me. If you sneak me a little of that rum you smuggled in, I might show you what I mean. Listen, Star, I'm a little too drunk for this shitty high school dance, and I feel like someone cut out my fucking heart. Can you please help me figure out where I parked my skateboard so I can go home, puke, pass out listening to The Cure, and wake up hungover in a piss-soaked bed? Whatever. Come on, Romeo. Hey, Necro. Eat pig's blood, you spooky-ass bastard. Damn it, bitch. You got in my way. What a boring prom. I kinda wish I never pre-ordered a video memory of the goddamn thing. Ha ha! Throw pig's blood on me, will ya? Ah! Help us! It burns! It burns! We're sorry! Stop! Ow! Mommy! Ow! 1994. High school graduation. Johnny Vincent. The lack of a crowd during graduation was due to all the hurt and suffering and deaths caused from prom night. My dearest, most beloved son, if you are reading this letter, then I am gone. I am truly sorry for not letting you know how sick I have become. I decided early on that my illness would only succeed in causing you even greater suffering. Although I have made a rather untimely departure from your short, tragedy-filled life, always remember the deep, pure, and unwavering love that I have always felt for you. My child, you have thanked me 1,000 times over for simply accepting you for you. This time it is I that am thanking you for always accepting me in these truly difficult times. I have always been proud of you, my boy. Never let anything stop you from living your life the way that you see fit. Bless you, Johnny, for entering my life. Love, now and forever. Leonard P. Vincent. Keep in mind that Johnny was the only other worker at the funeral home other than Leonard, so he has spent his time preparing Leonard for his burial. Several weeks later, and a few $100s in hobo bribes. What the fuck smells like death? Oh no! That's it. No, 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 no. You can't have this one, too. You hear me, Reaper? I'm taking back what's mine, even if I die trying. It's alive! Alive! Whoops. Johnny Vincent actually dies and gets resurrected. Arg. Fire bad. Wait a minute. What am I doing? I own piranhas. Arg. I smell bacon. Epilogue. Well, I suppose that there's nothing left for me here. I might as well go to college like you wanted me to. I got a letter from Chloe today, but I threw it away without even opening it. I don't want her to see me like this. I miss you so much, but I had to sell the funeral home you left me. As you can see, I had a little accident that left me a tad living impaired, and I didn't even save the fucking rabbit. Well, I guess this is goodbye, Father. At least you'll never be alone now. Epilogue Part 2. Austin, Texas. Fall, 1999. You're all set, Mr. Necro. You're officially a radio, television, and film major. See you the first of the new semester, and welcome to UT. God help us all. Nice guy, but my God, the man was so nervous. Poor guy. Too much caffeine, I suppose. The beginning.
And on that note, here are some more fan videos.
This is Jason and Craig from Dadminton Geek Den. Wanted to give a quick shout out and I guess wish a happy 24th to Johnny Necro's Frozen Dead. Comic book or comic strip has been going strong now for 24 years. So one more time, that was Frozen Dead. And happy birthday again.
Frozen Dead. Happy 24.
I wanted to get on here and wish Johnny a happy anniversary for 24 years of his Frozen Dead comics. He is a great writer, great creator, and very passionate about his work. Congratulations, buddy. Hope to see some more soon. Later.
This is Jeremiah Beebe. I'm Johnny Harley's little brother. I've been seeing him do these comics for 24 years now. I'm surprised that reached its 24 years anniversary mark. I even remember when we went and did videos on YouTube before YouTubers became a thing. So, seeing how far he's come and how far he'll go is very impressive to me. So, congrats on the 24-year anniversary, bro.
Hey, Johnny. Happy 24th anniversary on the Frozen Dead. Hope for another 24.
I want to wish the Frozen Dead comics a happy 24th anniversary. Stay spooky, y'all.
Hey, Johnny. Aaron here. Wanted to wish you a happy 24 for Frozen Dead. And I know, bro, it's just the beginning.
Hey y'all, I ran across Frozen Dead about a year ago. I wanted to wish them a happy 24th birthday. Y'all check them out. Thanks.
Happy 24 years to Frozen Dead Comics.
From all of us here at Endless Mountains Paranormal, we want to congratulate the Frozen Dead on 24 years. Happy anniversary.
Good October morning, everyone. This is Terry, Johnny Logan Harley's friend, wishing him a very happy 24th anniversary on his Frozen Dead comics. They're fun to watch. Please, please, please keep them coming. Anybody who hasn't seen them, definitely check it out. Lots of fun there. Have a good day. Thanks.
Hey, Shannon Wheeler of Too Much Coffee Man Cartoon. Wishing Frozen Dead a happy 24th year cartoon anniversary. Cheers to that.
Hey Johnny, Ken Salinas with Voodoo's. Want to say happy anniversary for 24 years, Frozen Dead. Can't wait to be part of that book. Looking forward to it, bud.
Johnny Necro, happy 24th anniversary of the Frozen Dead. Rock on.
Hey, welcome to the first episode of FDTV Tales of the Frozen Dead. I'm John Souders, and I'm your host. Today's title, Street Cred of the Dead. I'm here with writer and actor and avid, if not rabid, comic book fan, Gabe Johnson.
How you doing, my man?
Nice to see you. Good to see you, Gabe. Well, thanks for being here today.
Absolutely, anytime.
Please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, your career.
Right. Well, you know, my name is Gabe Johnson, 28 years old. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Very nice.
You know, I started reading Frozen Dead books, I want to say, about a little over a year, almost 2 years ago. Somewhere around there. And, you know, I gotta say, it's definitely become one of my top 25 favorite comics that I've got. Nice. And I'm a really big Marvel and DC guy, too, so that speaks volumes.
Well, you must appreciate the times in the comics when they make points and nods to the Marvel universe.
Absolutely.
Could you tell us how you started reading comics?
All right, so my dad got me into comics when I was really young. He was a really big, avid comic collector himself, and he shared that passion with me. That was one of our bonding times together. You know, so I got my love of comics through him. And as I got older, I started to invest in them as an individual, independently.
But I'd say that is definitely quite a contrast from the Frozen Dead.
Very much
your
so.
choices. But what is it that you enjoy most about Johnny and his work?
There's a feel to his work, you know. And
heard of that.
Johnny and I do have a similar background. We're both from, you know, we both spent some time in New York City. A lot of our pathways, we haven't crossed individually before, but we had the same stomping grounds.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a feel that you get from someone who's has an intimate knowledge of the city, you know, and that cross feel. And when I read his books and I pick it up, it's almost like I'm walking past one of those punk bars back in the city, and I can just smell it. You know, there's a feel to it, grit to it.
And that's awesome that you could almost get that, even though you were different ends of the spectrum, so to say. You were still in the same area, and hey, it's kind of kooky the way your paths brought together. Life is a strange way of doing that.
For sure.
So, because we're all curious, who are a few of your favorite Frozen Dead characters, and why?
All right. Well, there's three. Of course, you got Johnny and Brett. Brett's almost like everybody's favorite character who reads the book. And I gotta say, it's probably gonna be like Pickles Von Necro style, man. It's just a big oaf is always happy to be looming there every time it's in the shot. It's awesome to see.
Big lovable oaf. Who doesn't love him?
You gotta love him, man.
Exactly. Every hero has one.
Exactly.
And pretty much every comic, come on.
Right.
There's one character.
And I'm a sucker for those kind of characters and storylines, man. I always say, that's my favorite guy. He ain't the main guy, but he happens to be there. You know?
Yeah.
It's just like, you're my man. I connect with you.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Plus, you gotta root for the underdog.
You do. Yeah, you do.
I mean, oftentimes, they're the ones that make the most of it.
Right. Pickles Von Necro, you know, I've been thinking about him a lot since he's one of my favorites, and I do wonder in the current storyline of Frozen Dead, you know, in the claymation world, where we're going to see him again. You know what I mean? We've seen so many characters already, I kind of want to see where he's at.
I'm proud to say I actually have been gifted one of those clay figures.
Which ones?
I actually have, it's the Purple People Eater.
That's dope.
But I think that was also because Johnny knows I'm a fan of crazy old tunes like that. This isn't about me. This is about Frozen Dead.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, your thoughts on the current storyline with the claymation and how it applies to what's going on. I mean, especially during this whole pandemic and everything, everybody's needed something to really get their minds off all the uproar and upheaval and stuff that's going on.
Absolutely. You know, John and I had the privilege of working together, you know, so we talk about this quite often at length. And the whole spur of the claymation world that he came together was really in a fit to help his readers, you know, deviate from the qualms of outside.
That's a very good point.
You know, everything outside is full of BS right now.
And
so
how?
He decided to go and throw some BS in his book with the claymation world, which is amazing.
Stick it to the society in a way.
And, you know, I think it's worth noting, too, you know, this clay thing didn't come easily. You know what I mean? It was, he picked it up, he taught himself the craft, and learned how to do all these by hand, self-taught, all together.
Exactly. I know it was, not to cut you off there.
By all means.
But I know I also was Tribune to get a tour of the process of how he does it. And when he told me that he just kind of picked this up one day and ran with it, jaw hit the floor.
Same.
It just, are you kidding me?
Immediately
this looks
impressed.
like professional grade, like
I thought he went to school for it.
I would have thought so too. That's why it's like, are you you're kidding? Putting me on here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it's just amazing that you're looking here and it looks like something right out of like a Saturday morning special or
It does.
something of that nature.
Should have had my mans in Wallace and Gromit or something.
Yes.
I got that throw off the bat, you know. But and I'm proud to say I also have a couple figurines too. I have.
Oh, really? Which ones?
Thurgood and the California Raisins.
Awesome. That is great. One Raisin, I know, currently is making quite a prominent role.
Oh yeah, and my man with the microphone.
Mm-hmm. Almost the Vince McMahon type.
Very much so. Very much so. I'd love to see him one day just pop on like a special referee and just knock somebody. That'd be amazing.
That would be awesome. But then again, who knows? None of us know what's going to happen.
That is true.
Who's going to show up, what might appear, or who knows? Maybe there's something hiding under that ring.
I wouldn't put it past it.
That's
one thing I've learned from reading the Frozen Dead comics is that it's very unpredictable in that sense.
And that is the beauty, that one of the things that I myself love about it, because I've recently just started reading Frozen Dead comics.
Right.
So fairly new to it. I highly recommend it to anybody.
Yes, buy them books.
Frozen Dead is to comics what Weird Al is to music. It
Most
just
definitely.
takes in pop culture, puts it all in like a Cuisinart, hits button and just spews out.
That's probably the best comparison I've heard so far.
Spews out the mayhem and insanity, but it's always spot on.
That it is.
And it's so gripping to just whatever's happening. It's like you read it, go through it. Holy crap! Holy cow! That is so true.
You know, I think it does warrant to say something about the title characters in there, Johnny and Brett. You know, we have a zombie and the heart of a zombie. You know what I mean? And it's
heart of a zombie.
When you sit back and you think about it, and I'm sitting here probably overthinking it a lot right now, but being out there dead, there's an eternity in death. You know what I mean? So. That being said, these characters can span all time genres. They can span all dimensions.
Exactly. You never know where
there's a unifying principle in who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that the two title characters says a lot about being ever present in all these situations we have going on outside. You can see them in any situation because they're everywhere, omnipotent.
And it's never makes sense.
Exactly.
They can turn up just about anywhere and just run with it.
Which I think was a lot of the principle behind the multiverse going on in the books, was that they can turn up anywhere and they will fuck anything up. That's the idea.
But in a tasteless way.
Oh, very tasteless.
Very tasteless. Gotta keep it tasteless.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I gotta tell you, man, it was a pleasure being here with you today, man.
And it was truly an honor to meet you, Gabe. And I
First accordion player.
Hey,
Weird Al fan.
Oh yeah, Nerds Unite.
Nerds Unite.
And hey, I hope to read some of your work very soon.
Oh, absolutely.
I really hope
Please
to.
do.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. So for all of you who've been wondering why, I am a writer, and I write a graphic novel called The Silverback Archives. It will be released here pretty soon, so stay on the lookout for that.
Can I put myself down for a copy of that?
Oh, by all means.
Okay.
By all means.
But you have to sign it.
You ain't gotta ask me twice.
Okay. All right.
All right, man. It was excellent seeing you.
Hey, it was very nice to meet you. Greetings, Necro Fiends. Welcome to the second episode of FDTV. I'm John Souders here with our very special guest and avid, if not rabid reader, Rob.
Rob, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very good.
Welcome to FDTV.
This is phenomenal.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
Looking around, it's unreal. This is just what I would expect from the Frozen Dead creator.
Indeed. Which is a store question. What, pray tell, drew you for the Frozen Dead? What about it captured you, grasped you by the balls, and just yanked?
I guess it was all of the, first of all, the art. I love the style it's drawn in, and I love all of the pop reference content. You can pull up anything, and I love how twisted the stories get.
Quite so. Pop culture kind of goes hand in hand with the Frozen Dead. Literally. Also, what else about it that really just you can relate to? I see that obviously you're a big fan of punk rock. What aspects of punk rock would you say liken to the Frozen Dead?
It's got a lot of the horror punk from like the Misfits roots, and it goes from there, all of the horror punk bands and underground punk.
Yeah.
But then it takes elements of like pro wrestling, and other really cool pop reference images from fast food to movies,
to even simple cartoons like Scooby-Doo. Or excuse me, Scooby-Doo.
And I think one of the things I love most about Johnny and the Frozen Dead, it's like a big family to Johnny.
It truly is.
And he likes to take care of his family, and from the beginning I would notice if one of his followers was on hard times, to cheer him up with the help of other fans, Johnny would send out merchandise and things to these people. And I can honestly say the first time I came to visit, last year was a very, very hard year for me. And Johnny gave me some awesome merch. I was able to catch up on the backstories of the books.
Nice.
And
Excellent.
actually learn a lot more about the Frozen Dead.
That's good. I know I myself have had, because I came into it way after it had been released, and Johnny was kind enough that came in and got me up to par with everything and instantly loved it. Even with the new storyline, with the claymation, I was very fortunate to actually have one of the figures that was used.
That's something that I've got as well. So
Really?
we've got that in common.
Awesome.
As a kid, I'm about, I think, 10 or so years older than Johnny, so I always read Cracked and Mad magazines as a kid, and
Good stuff.
I had a box probably 18 inches tall of just
Really?
Cracked and Mad, and
that's beautiful.
I have no need for them now. My house is bursting at the seams. There's such an influence Johnny has from both Cracked and Mad. We made a trade, and I can say I am the proud owner of the Crucified Grimace claymation, and it is amazing.
Awesome. That is clearly.
My house is filled with mostly rock and roll memorabilia and stuff, but it's just a prized...
Well, as it should be, to have this piece of
It's an
pop
original
culture.
piece of
Yes.
art from something that I really love.
Another thing that I know because also being a big fan of, I always said that pop culture and referencing things, cartoons like Scooby, I'm proud to say that I actually have the original outline piece of Scooby Doom, which proudly hangs in my living room and gets quite the questionable piece from anybody that comes. It may be what happened to Scooby, but hey, it is what it is.
And I don't know if you know, Johnny is quite a musician.
I have heard some videos, heard some songs.
I mean, he might not, the average person probably hasn't heard of his stuff. Might not be the average person's taste, but I like that.
Hey, eclectic tastes are what make the world go round.
So for him to have a punk, underground, hardcore background like that and incorporate the punk attitude into Frozen Dead makes it even better.
Truly encompasses the Bret Hart of the Frozen Dead. Speaking of characters, which character, if you were forced to spend eternity with any character from the Frozen Dead, who would it be and why?
I would probably like Johnny Necro, but I spend a lot of time at home with Grimace. We talk a bit. He wants to be taken down from the cross.
Don't do it.
Grimace and I have always gotten along, and as long as he stays on that cross,
then that is where he shall remain.
Bret would be great to hang out with.
Yes, as long as you don't mind a little drinking and tobacco.
He can drink only once. We can do a few shots.
Clearly. Hey, in heaven there is no beer. That's why we drink it here.
Speaking of Frozen Dead, do you know how the comic got its name?
Please enlighten me.
Johnny was going to be starting a band with a friend, and they were going to call it Frozen Dead.
Really? But going forward, for any new readers to Frozen Dead or people seeking out, what would be your best advice? What do you think would suggest to them?
Well, as I am relatively new, I think maybe a year or so now, just dive in. If you're aware of pop culture, and you'll easily get the references. And you can go, if you want to pick up with the story, go back a few episodes. He posts, I think, every single day.
Pretty much, yes.
And it doesn't take long to go back and look at the stuff. But even if you just wanted to jump in and never go back, it's easy enough to figure, but it is well worth going back into the archives.
Sure.
Because there's, I don't know how many storylines there have been.
If you go and become a member of Tomb of the Frozen Dead on Facebook, you can look back at all these comics, way back from the beginning. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Do it. 23 years. 23 years.
I'll admit I haven't gone back the full time, but it's well worth doing a deep dive.
It definitely. And hey, it doesn't take long, only a few minutes. Well, Rob, it's been great, and thank you for being here at FDTV. It's been great getting to know you, hear your backstory, and we hope that Frozen Dead will continue to infect your life.
Oh, I'm sure it will, and I'd like to thank you for having me, and to all the FDTV viewers, rock on and keep liking the Frozen Dead.
Bad dreams.
So, in brief, what influences you in the Frozen Dead?
Okay, we'll try to keep this semi-minimal. I mentioned some of the comics and some of the magazines earlier. So, the Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello Meet the Monsters, The Munsters, my favorite show of all time. I like Addams Family. I love Munsters. The Real Ghostbusters, the cartoons from the 80s that had the horror themes like that. More modern stuff still influence me. I mean, but all of Mel Brooks, Young Frankenstein, man.
Oh yeah, Mel Brooks.
Baseball, Star Wars, the first movie I ever saw in a theater.
Think about this.
I did Star Horrors.
Think about this for a second. If Mel Brooks was continuing to make movies like he did in the 70s and the 80s, they would never make it to the screen.
They would crucify him.
Yes.
They would destroy him.
They would never make it to the screen.
But he had the right time and the right place.
True.
Speaking of that, with Frozen Dead, same line of defense. I don't shy away from my jokes, and I make fun of society.
Right.
When the new Space Jam came out, what did? They they cut out Pepe Le Pew completely because all of a sudden he's offensive. He's
yes. It was about that time, wasn't it?
So
because I never watched the second Space Jam movie. So
I did watch it. Unfortunately, there are some redeeming qualities, but I'm still pissed at it. It's not the original anyway. But long story short, Pepe's talking to Brett at a bar, having a heart-to-heart, and he goes, "Since when is it a crime to love? No." He goes, "1 minute, I am fine. Next, they kick me off of their new basketball team. I am given a restraining order."
I remember
Brett goes,
that.
"Buddy, you think you got it bad? Where did they fucking discover me?"
I remember that.
Oh, I'll give you one more Brett impression because this never happened. This is one of my biggest things. I need a cartoon for shit like this. And this is not to be offensive. This is that kind of humor. And I don't fucking care because I'm not making fun of people with disabilities. I'm making fun of Brett being an asshole.
Sure.
I always wanted to do a joke where Brett reads letters from fans. And so, picture, if you will, Brett, being Brett, holding the letter. "Dear Frozen Dead guys, I got to ask you a question about Brett." Well, that's good because that's me. Fucking dumbass. So, puts on little glasses. "If Brett is supposed to be Johnny Necro's heart, how the hell is he always getting laid, let alone knocking up bitches?" I'm glad you asked that question because there is a very logical explanation. I'm a cartoon, you fucking moron. Now, there was a second one that was more offensive. And it's not intended to be. It's making fun of Brett, not people. "Dear Frozen Dead, my son loves your cartoon. He's somewhat of an artist, so he sent you this picture. Ugh. Jesus Christ, lady, you better give him some fucking art lessons." Oh. It doesn't say artistic, it says autistic. So yeah, I think that's about all the bullet points we're going to hit for this long fucking video that we're going to have to edit. But
well, yeah, you're going to have to edit.
I have to go more in depth than just some interview, and I didn't answer the same way, and there was some different shit. So it was a celebration of you and everybody that has made Frozen Dead worth doing.
And that was the whole point.
I may get 5 likes, but I got thousands of people that are looking at it. I mean,
That's
I may
right.
get 1 heart, but that doesn't mean that you're not seeing it. You're just lazy.
See, to me, the whole point,
I just called my readers lazy because they won't.
you know, the whole point to me is, hey, let's get to know Johnny. I mean, we know the Frozen Dead. Well, what's the creative person behind the Frozen Dead?
A very sad, angry man who tries to make people happy.
Well, see, there you go. That's all you got.
I'm happy with my wife and everything I do, but in general, I think a lot. You know what I mean? I'm on fucking anxiety medicine like half the country.
Yeah, well, everybody needs to be on anxiety medicine. I need it more than most people because I work in aviation.
Yeah.
So, but that was the whole point. I mean, to me, that's the whole point is, hey, let the fans know who the person is behind the pencil.
I'm just another wannabe Weird Al Yankovic in a different style of art.
Or a different meat suit.
Right, or a different meat suit.
Or a different meat suit,
Unlike everybody else, I wear my organs on the inside until I don't.
And then by that time, it's over and done with. I'm sorry.
But I will keep doing Frozen Dead until I stop finding it fun. I'll take breaks like I do, every couple of years or so, but I need it. I mean, it's a fucking endurance trial.
And then it becomes work.
Right.
And then it becomes work. When it becomes work and it's not fun, what's the fun in working? Or is it?
And as I've been famously saying for my last couple of interviews, Horde Orables only exist because I do Frozen Dead for free so long.
Right.
1 book a year ain't gonna fucking cut it.
No.
Horde Orables are how I make my extra income, and Ann makes them with her company Fantastic Creation. So there we go.
There you go. Go figure, right?
Anyways, so there you go. Now we're done talking about Frozen Dead, so I guess we're done with talking about the fucking video. Thank you so much for your time. Thank all of you. And please stop dying on me. I know we can't fucking always help, get help. Those of you that have illnesses, know that we care. Say hi. Because someday I'm going to look on that fucking page and I'm not going to see your like and I'm not going to know why. But when your profile comes up, I'm going to cry because I'm going to see that you're gone. So let's interact now while you're still out there.
Right. And that's exactly it. You know, I mean, that is exactly it. I mean, I know you have lost many a reader off of Frozen Dead. I know you have. And I know that affects you personally. So, because we've talked about it before.
I don't want to dedicate a book to you people. Not because you don't deserve it.
That didn't come out right, I don't think.
Way to get a book dedicated to you, man. You don't got to fucking die on me. Again, it's not always their fault, but health problems aside, you know, no. If there ever is a Frozen Dead that you don't like and that offends you, just remember it ain't offending the guy next to you. Don't ruin their fucking happiness.
So, do you have anything else that you would like to impart to your readers?
Keep watching, keep reading, keep being yourself. I have a quote I used to use. Be safe, be true, be real, be you.
And I think with that, we should probably wrap this up. Maybe next year do another one. Who knows? We'll have to see what happens.
That's more than 24.
That will be a quarter of a century.
That's crazy.
Quarter of a century. So a fourth of 100 years. But yeah, with that, we should probably wrap it up and call it an evening.
Thank you all. Happy Halloween.
Peace out.